Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining. Many of us are watching with horror the events unfolding in the Ukraine. It's hard to imagine that in 2022 we should be watching and witnessing some war of this kind in the midst of Europe. And while many people are focused on the geopolitical meaning of this, the start of a new Cold War, what does this mean about the map in Europe and so on and so forth, we must never forget about the human toll, about the single individuals, the men, women, and children, the individuals that are affected by these events. Many times we look at a country as a whole, we look at regions as a whole, and we forget about the fact that we're dealing with human beings, each human being a world to themselves. It is interesting that in this week's Torah reading we read about the menorah. The menorah has become an enduring symbol for the Jewish people. And the menorah, of course, reminds us that though it has many branches, it is all made out of one solid piece of gold, and it all comes from one base, one stem. And it's a reminder that as humanity, even though there are different branches of humanity, we have different tribes, different countries, different races, religions, ethnic groups, ultimately we all come from the same place. We all are creations of God. We are all children of God, and we all come from the same origins. It's interesting that according to Genesis, according to the biblical account, there was only one couple, Adam and Eve, at the beginning of the world, to tell humanity that we all come from the same place. And it is that sense of understanding and feeling and having empathy for another human being. They are an extension of ourselves. Their pain is our pain. Their suffering is our suffering. That is the key when we look and witness such events, to remember about the human beings that are unfortunately affected and struggling through and suffering through different events in the world. This is true in the Ukraine. This is true around the world. We must never forget about the single individual human beings that are being impacted, and that is where our prayers and, of course, our help and assistance should be focused. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you, and Shabbat Shalom.